There are some new studies out there that are showing what a diet filled with ultra-processed foods is doing to our moods, our health, and our lifespan.
Yeah, and here to break it all down for us, we have Dr. Brooke Goldner. She's with Goodbye Lupus. So grateful for you to be joining us in studio today. Doctor, thank you so much.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here, and I hate being one to bring bad news, but it is important news when it comes to our health, and I think people are going to be shocked by, especially, there's two things that I thought were shocking. One was what they consider to be ultra-processed, because some of the things people think are healthy, and the others how little it takes to hurt our health. So I'll ask you, so what do you think of ultra-processed food? What comes to mind?
Okay.
I'm thinking of fast food,
junk,
packaged things, candy bars.
Yes, and they are 100%. You get out of a vending machine, all that. It is ultra-processed, but ultra-processed refers to anything that actually really has a shelf life because of added chemicals. So it includes things like fruit yogurt, breakfast cereals, protein bars, baby formula, things that people think they're doing that are healthy is actually damaging their health. So I think a lot of people are going to be shocked by that. It's called the NOVA classification. They can look online, but it's important to understand that if it's got a shelf life where it can just sit there and it's got chemicals added that you don't have in your kitchen, it is ultra processed.
Oh gosh. Okay,
I do think that it is shocking. You know, we try to make healthy, mindful decisions. A lot of these things you think, oh, this is a healthy alternative or a better option, and it may not necessarily be the case. So.
And doctors don't know it either. When I'm teaching rooms full of doctors and I ask them how many of you think you're eating healthy when you have cereal, and they raise their hand, and I always say, if it says healthy on the box, it's not healthy. Right? Does it say healthy in the produce aisle over the broccoli? No, they're trying to sell you. But it's not healthy, it's processed. And there's very little of it that they actually have found creates great damage. So there were two big studies I wanted to talk to you about today. One of them was a study where they looked at analyses of over 10 million people. So this is a big review, right? And they were looking at what happens if you have one serving a day of ultra-processed foods, 10% of your calories, right? So like a bag of chips, one protein bar. What happens? And what they found was it was correlated with a 50% increase in heart attacks and strokes, right? 50%, and 53% raise in anxiety. So all those folks are dealing with mental health issues, 53% correlation with anxiety, and 20% increase in dying of any cause, dying early from any cause. They showed diabetes, increased cancer, so lung disease. So it's one serving a day had a devastating effect. And the other study was looking at the brain specifically, and what they were looking at was 10,000 Brazilians who had 20% of their calories, so a burger and fries. Right? So 2 servings a day. And looking at the brain, what they found was it was correlated with 20 to 25 to 28% increased rate of developing dementia.
Wow.
Even one serving, when they ate it, they watched them and they had a decrease in their ability to just do normal tasks after eating that. So you eat that bag of chips or that protein bar, you're decreasing that function in the moment. So it's pretty devastating. Now I have a question for you, all right?
Okay.
So these studies were looking at 10 to 20% of your calories coming from ultra-processed food and what it did. Guess what percentage do you think of Americans, what percentage of their diet comes from ultra-processed food?
60.
Yeah, I'll say 70 maybe. I'll go high.
All right, you won the money.
Okay, she's on it.
So the average American and person in the UK, about 58% of their calories. Canada's pretty close behind at 48%. So 10 to 20% can do that. What we're looking at in American diet, especially when you combine it with the data we have that was done years ago, that one serving of red meat a day can raise your risk of dying early from 13 to 20%. You've got the standard American diet, right? It's ultra addictive, it's ultra deadly, it's ultra processed. So we really have to do something about it. And there is hope we can do something about it.
And I wanted to ask you about that, Doctor. What are the steps then ultimately that you can take to try to move forward with this, to make positive steps? Is there anything you can do to try to fix the damage?
You can do. And you know me, I'm always here for hope. There is hope. You know, I myself, the reason I'm sitting here right now, when I was 27, I was on medications for lupus. I'd had strokes, kidney failure, arthritis, rashes. Now I'm 47, I have no health problems. I was able to have children I was told I could never have because I changed my diet. I had a ultra-processed, standard American diet. My 15-year-old said the other day, when I hear about how you ate as a teenager, it was like you were trying to get lupus.
Right.
Because I was eating Chef Boyardee and macaroni and cheese and pizza, right? But that was just how I was raised. That was normal. So one thing I think is important for us to know as a step is to understand it is addictive. The dementia trial showed that if you show somebody a picture of the label of their favorite processed food, the areas of the brain that light up in drug addicts lights up. that creates cravings. So you're not weak, you don't have low willpower, you're addicted. And what do you do when you're addicted to something? You gotta get it out of the house, right? If it's there, it's gonna call you, you're gonna answer the call.
It's tempting.
Yeah.
Yep, so get it out of the house, right? And that way, if you have it, it might be once in a while when you're out. The other thing I found really hopeful in the dementia trial was they found that for people who mostly ate fresh fruits and vegetables, unprocessed grains, things like that, that the correlation between dementia and eating processed foods went away. So there's hope. Yeah, look,
I see.
I
I see what you mean.
You're like, okay, thank goodness, right? So if most of your diet comes from fresh whole foods, you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables, all those things, and then you happen to have that protein bar or something, the correlation went away with dementia. And I'm predicting probably with the other ones too, they didn't look at that. And I found that in my own wellness clients and in my patients, that if they eat mostly a plant-based diet, they're drinking those green smoothies, or eating healthy, and they occasionally eat a bag of chips, that they don't get sick again. And I found that for myself too. Every once in a while I will go, Houston's got some good food, you know, even the vegan food, right? And I will sometimes have something that's processed, has oil or sugar, and I don't get sick again because the rest of my diet is healthy.
Brooke, doctor, what do you say if there's families at home that are watching that are like, I want to do this, but how do I even begin? You know, we do fast food, we've got sports to go to, we do the Chef Boyardee, but we try to eat healthy. What else can we do as a family?
Well, I think one is you have to talk about it as a family. I really believe as we learn better, we do better. My mom felt guilty when I wrote Goodbye Lupus and she read about how my diet caused my disease. She felt, I said, Mom, you're an amazing mother. She still is. She's an amazing mother. She was doing her best with what she knew. But you know what? Because of what I've learned, she no longer has rheumatoid arthritis, right? So we grow up, we learn better, we do better. So it has to be a family meeting. We've learned some new things. We want to get the junk out of the house. We can have it sometimes when we go out, but at home, let's eat fresh. Two, get the kids involved. My new recipe book, kids love it. There's recipes from my son Alex in there. People, they love it. If you get kids involved in making food, like when my kids were toddlers, you have a toddler, right?
They love it. They love to be in the kitchen.
We used to make a rainbow plate where we would use fruits and vegetables to make like flowers and rainbows and stuff, and then they would eat the rainbow. So getting the family involved, talking about what the impact is, and telling them whenever they say, why can't I have that? I always say, tell them, because I love you too much, right? So add the other stuff in, crowd the junk out, and start consciously trying to make choices so you can have longer, healthier lives and spend less time with white coats.
Yes. Yes, doctor, thank you so much. And really quickly, where can people learn more? Where can they contact you?
So my website's goodbyelupus.com, but my big goal is to spread the information throughout so that this becomes something that everybody does, that your prescription from your doctor is have a green smoothie, eat more vegetables rather than just pills, right? So I do a lot of free coaching for the public. I'm live on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook every Wednesday, just trying to help the public. So Goodbye Lupus, you can find me everywhere under that.
Dr. Brooke Goldner, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for
Very
joining
message.
us. We so appreciate it.